as I want to introduce our partner, Peter Taunton. It's not often that you have an individual that over the last 20 some odd years has started with no money with a failed gym, built that up to several gyms, sold it, and then went off to build the largest fitness brand in the world, one of the largest in the world. Needless to say, there were just a few hills throughout that process that he had to conquer, that he had to take. And that's the whole theme of today. He wrote the book, The Impossible Hill. That's what the whole day was built on. He's a Forbes instructor. He's our partner, as I said. I'm proud to tell you he's a friend of ours now, and we get to speak with on a regular basis whenever we want. And he's been on the podcast. It would behoove you to watch those. You can write these numbers down. He was on episodes number 228 and 292. He's more involved than ever in the community. And here we are again, bringing that up. He's been on a high six call. He's going to be at many events, and he's going to become more and more visible. So, Peter, I could go on and take more of your time and introduce you, but I'm super psyched that you're here. I know you'd rather be on your boat, which you're probably heading to, but thanks for being on today, buddy. I can't wait to hang out.
I'm just going to spend a few minutes with you, just really some thoughts to give you some context. And I always like to start with context because it's really, it brings validation, but more importantly, it hopefully you can understand that anything's possible. I grew up youngest of 7 kids in a small town in Minnesota and went to school in a 2-room schoolhouse. I started with nothing. Went to college, quit college my junior year. I mean, I was tell Chris, if I was a stock, you would have shorted me for sure. But I had my first break when I was about 22 years old. And you know what? I had an opportunity to turn around a failing health club. And I'd never ran a business before other than running a popcorn stand out in front of my father's grocery store. No joke. But I had my break. And sometimes you need to recognize, where are your breaks? Now, I didn't know that starting a little business, I didn't know that turning around a failing health club in my early 20s was going to lead to building one of the largest wellness brands in the world. But here's in a summary of my life. And I know we're trying to just granulize this thing and bring it to and bring it to 10, 15 minutes here. But here's the reality. Life, it's unpredictable. And as beautiful as it is, it's painful, it's confusing, it's frustrating. And sometimes what's so important when you're going through some of these hard moments, you have to be able to step back. You have to be able to step back and say, look, this is part of life. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how much you have. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how much you've accomplished. Okay, every one of us has issues. Every one of us has demons that we're dealing with. And most of the people that and Chris alluded to it, I'm a Forbes Masterclass instructor. So I have the privilege of dealing with some really, really successful people, not only success financially, but successful in their own careers, whether it be acting, professional athletes. And I really enjoy and appreciate the vulnerability that they share with me. But I'll tell you the common thread. Every one of us at some point in our lives, we feel stuck. Okay. And there's not a time when I'm not talking to these people and they say, hey, Peter, I am stuck. My life sucks. I don't like what I'm doing. I feel like I've been here for a long time. And I just peel that back. I peel it back almost like an onion. And I get to all facets of it. What part of your life is you're stuck? And because people many times they say, I don't know where to start. Peter, because the world is so big. And I said, well, look, you've already started. The first step of acknowledging the first step of change is acknowledging that you want to do something. That is the first step. So then I tell them, okay, look, you've got step 1, check the box. You've decided that you don't like where you're at. Okay. Now, next step, let's decide what you want to change. Let's look at every part of your life. We're not talking about just financial. Let's talk about your physical appearance. I mean, I was talking to a guy just the other day. He goes, hey, look, I want to change everything about my life. I said, careful what you wish for, brother. Everything about your life. Okay, so you know what we got him doing? He's losing weight. He's making a career change. He's changing his hairstyle. He's changing the people who he hangs out with. Why? Because he's not surrounding himself with good energy. Okay, so we're sitting down and we're creating, we're deciding what we want to do, the change we want to make. The next step is we want to make a change. Okay, we create a plan of action. Okay, I promise you, change will not come without action. Okay, if you're one of these people, if I'm talking to you now and you say, man, you know what, there's some things in my life that I want to change. If that's you, which is most people, and you know what, when you're listening to me speak, you got to be honest with yourself. All right. But if there's something in your life that you want to change, it's not going to change without action. Okay. You got to do more than just think about it. You got to put pen to paper. You got to say, look, these are the things that I want that I'm going to change about my life. And the next part of it, look, you've got to hold yourself accountable. Okay. There's 3 words I talk about all the time: discipline, accountability, and perspective. And I'll tell you why. When we're going through that change, if I was sitting down and consulting every one of you, I would say, what is it that you want to change in your life? What does your perfect world look like? What is your bliss? And when you pound that stake in the sand, when I'm looking at your North Star, which is you living your best life, when I see that you're there, then we create milestones along the way. Because milestones are so important, because why? We lack perspective. We lack how long this journey is going to take. All right. And that's very, very important that you set milestones along the way, because when you see movement, then you see progress. Progress is motivating and it's inspiring. Okay. The last step when you're deciding that you're going to make these changes, you've created this plan of action. The last step is the hardest. The last step is the hardest. And that is, you have to make the jump. You have to make the jump. Just like every one of you today. Okay, every one of you today, you want to level up. I can tell you straight away, I've got a front row seat to the Wicked Smart real estate strategy, but also the Wicked Smart finance piece. Now, the finance piece is a component that we just added. You know why? As we were looking at our universe of people like yourselves, we said, look, if people aren't moving deals, if people aren't selling property, they're not making money. I mean, that's the bottom line, is just talk unless you start papering deals. So we said, look, there's a number of deals out there that are not getting done because some of the candidates we're working with, which would be all of you, you don't have quite enough financial support to get into some of these deals. So we're telling you, and I tell you, there's not a lot of companies out there where you're going to have a partner like Chris and Zach and myself, where we're going to raise our hand and say, hey, look, let's take a look at that deal. So now you've got another set of eyes looking at a deal where we've done hundreds of deals. So you've got professional eyes looking at your deal. Why is that so important? Because just like I say, it's scary to make the jump. It's scary. Okay. And it's nice to know that you've got a cushion. It's nice to know that you've got another set of eyes looking at your deals. And we offer that for you. That's part of our deal. Here's a mistake I want you to be careful that you don't do. Some people, every one of us, we have New Year's resolutions and we say, you know what, I'm going to do this and we do that. And 30 days later, let's face it, most of us suck at it. We forgot about them. We're not doing them. Okay. But don't make this mistake. Don't say, yes, I'm going to do it. And then you do make the jump. You make the jump and it's not what you thought it was. Okay. It wasn't what you thought it was. It was harder than you thought. And you weren't doing the amount of deals that you thought you were going to do, and you're feeling like you're starving. Here's the mistake. You jumped in because in your head, you told yourself, I'm going to do this. But here's the reality. The reality is you didn't truly jump. Okay. You did it. You looked in the mirror and you said, yep, I'm going to make the jump, but you weren't all in. All right. And that's important. You know, when you're going to make a career change like this, and I can tell you, Chris has got a laundry list of people that have been in the same boat as you, that they kind of limp into the program and then they don't get the yield that they're looking for, the ROI on their time. And I always say human capital comes at a price. Okay. So just don't make this mistake. Don't go to all the work of going through this and telling yourself, I am going to change. I am going to do this. And then you make the jump, but you don't commit. You don't put the time necessary. You don't put the effort necessary. And here's the tragedy. You draw a conclusion that this is not for you when it was perfectly for you. You just didn't put the effort.
Peter, we held you up from your boat trip, and I appreciate you hanging out with us today. I always appreciate you hanging out with you. I'm sure we'll talk over the weekend. Go enjoy the sun and the ocean. And thanks again. You bring huge value, and I appreciate you very much.
Hey guys, I want you to know how much I appreciate this. I hope some of what I said was informative for you. My message doesn't change. You know, it's the block and tackling of winning. Okay. And Chris, as always, man, you're my brother. Anytime that you want me to come on and speak with your group, I'm happy to do it. I love this Q&A because it's relevant. It's right to the point, and it's what people are thinking about. So I appreciate all of you. Everybody, have a blessed Saturday. Until next time. Ciao.
Thanks, Peter. Take care, buddy.
Take care.